Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa podcast. If you are new to our channel, subscribe, drop this video a like and get involved in the comment section down below. So we are on international duty and Ollie Watkins has done an interview which is doing the rounds and it is a fantastic read. And I'm here to react to it because I think it's a really good read. It's a really good interview. It gives you an understanding of Ollie Watkins, his psyche, how he's on and off the pitch, his aspirations at Villa, his ambitions, and it's just really good. And sort of there was a mini meltdown when Yuri Tillemans did an interview on international duty last time, and I know a lot of people were reacting to it. So I thought, we've got a good interview here, so why don't I react to a player doing a really good interview on international duty? So I'm going to read the interview and we're going to react to it as we go, because it's, from my personal point of view, it comes across as a very personal player. It comes across as a real, true, modern professional. He's never in the headlines, and he just goes about his business on the pitch and off the pitch. He's quite private, which is quite nice to see, really, compared to some players. So we'll get into the interview and we'll see how we go when we go with the interview and we start reading it and we find some points that maybe are point of interest. And so the headline is, "I'm okay with silence. Quiet man Watkins aiming to turn up the volume." Good headline. So as far as Ollie Watkins is concerned, it's about playing well and scoring goals, nothing more. As long as he does the business for Aston Villa, everything else will follow, and that includes England call-ups, and yet the striker is not so sure. Watkins has posted particularly impressive numbers since Unai Emery took over from Steven Gerrard as Aston Villa manager last October, with 21 goals and 8 assists in 39 appearances. So that's 29 goal involvements in 39 games, which is absolutely remarkable. But it was only after his hat-trick in the 6-1 win against Brighton at the end of September when he also registered an assist, which followed him getting the only goal in Villa's previous Premier League game at Chelsea, that he was again named by Gareth Southgate in the England squad. Even then, the England manager made it clear that Callum Wilson's injury and forced absence was a factor in the opening up space for the number 9 Watkins. Previous involvement was March 2022 when he won his 7th cap against the Ivory Coast and scored his second goal. He hopes to be involved against Australia on Friday night and perhaps even Italy on Tuesday. So I think I go under the radar, Watkins says. I'm not talked about enough profile-wise. I know I have been producing on the pitch since Emery came in, but it goes a little bit under the radar. I fully agree. I think Watkins goes totally under the radar for me. We know that Watkins has spells where he scores heavy goals and he sort of goes on these runs. But, I think bar Kane, bar Haaland, Ollie Watkins is England's most prolific striker so far going into 2023. So I do think he goes under the radar. And he goes on to talk about something else in a bit as well, which we spoke about with Jacob Tanswell yesterday about Villa going under the radar. And I think the two really do combine and merge together. So we'll get onto that in a second. It is not, Watkins says, because he plays for Villa outside the unambiguous Big Six and the Champions League. Rather, he feels it's because he does not put himself out there as much as others. And by that, he means his presence on social media. Watkins does not have an account on X, Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, while he has treated his 373,000 Instagram followers to 11 posts since the start of the season. Watkins does not want it to matter. He says on more than one occasion that he's not fussed about social media, but the more you listen to him, the more he listens to some of the advisors. The more you suspect, the more you're beginning to wonder. A lot of people have said to me, I need to push my profile. Watkins says, a guy I worked with commercially, he's always saying to post more on Instagram. It's kind of, I wouldn't want to put anything out there that's not authentic and not myself. It's hard being a footballer on social media because you can't put exactly what you think. I can't just put, I had a stinker today and I missed 3 chances and I should have scored. My saying has always been, just be good at football. The rest will take care of itself. If I'm scoring 30 goals a year and someone wants to do a sponsorship deal with me, they're going to do it because I'm doing well on the pitch. Whereas if I'm not, I'm trying to push my socials, it reflects badly. So that goes back to that sort of opening statement through here, really, about not playing sort of for a team in sort of the unambiguous Big Six Champions League. And I think Villa go massively under the radar. I've said it numerous times that Emery deserves more credit. Watkins deserves more credit. We've got a piece out about Douglas Luiz later on today. He also deserves more credit. And I just think because we're just not... I have no idea. Villa fans, I'd love you guys to answer this of why we don't get the credit we deserve. But, you know, Watkins is a striker that's unlike no other striker that's English in the Premier League for me, because his off-the-ball stuff is absolutely fantastic. He's absolutely rapid. And yeah, he can create his own goals, and I just think he's a really good player, and he does deserve to be in this England squad. If I look at someone like Callum Wilson, I think he's a better striker than Callum Wilson, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think he's massively underrated. I think he's probably underrated amongst the Villa fan base as well. So, I think that all ties into one, doesn't it, really? So, so where are we? The upshot is that Watkins feels he has to do more to get his goal, to get his England recall. All of the other strikers in the squad score goals, he says. So I know I need to be scoring as much as them, if not more, to get in the team. It is also not. It is also no great stretch to think that the higher profile player might have got the penalty against Watkins. Was denied in Sunday's 1-1 draw at Wolves. He looked to be pushed by Matt Doherty. Watkins is a guy who keeps himself to himself, as he puts it. I wouldn't say I was the loudest in the room. It definitely takes me a while to warm up, he says. I'm okay with silence. I can just listen. It doesn't mean I am boring and have nothing to say. I am happy in my own skin and quite calm. Now, if I'm being brutally honest, I would say I have that Watkins trait of sort of meeting new people, being in new spaces, kind of being quite quiet, and you kind of want to get a sense of your surroundings. And then once you survey and get a sense of your surroundings and know where you are, you can then start to like speak up and become quite comfortable in your surroundings. So I would say I'm a bit like that with Watkins, and sort of you can just listen to people's conversations and then you just dip in. And then I think sometimes those type of people as well, when they do speak, people then do listen. And I think they are quite sort of strong people in a way, in which that they might come across quite shy and quite reserved, but the minute they do speak, people do listen. So I think that's a trait that I can personally relate to, which is not a bad thing. Watkins admits he can be overly harsh on himself, his own worst critic, especially if he misses an easy chance during a run without a goal. It picks at me. It's something I've got to work. It's something I've worked on. What is impossible to ignore is Watkins' prediction that he will get 20 goals this season without penalties, as he has stood down as Villa's spot kick taker. Dougie Luiz has took that role on. The flashes of attitude too, when he scored against Chelsea to open his account in the Premier League, he celebrated, by sticking his finger to his ears. He wanted to make a point. All fans are fickle, I would say. I don't want to be too controversial in this interview, but I feel like as a striker, if you go a few games without a goal, people will always be saying, he's on a drought, he can't score. Then I score 4 goals in 2 games and everyone loves you. It's the highs and lows. Watkins intends to prolong the high to continue repaying the vision of trust of Emery. Definitely under Steven Gerrard. I know he played me all the time. I've played under all managers, but I wasn't really getting the best out of my game, Watkins says. That wasn't down to him. I'd just fallen into a rut, but I feel like I have gone on a different path and I really focus on being a striker. Before, I was trying to do everything to cross it, to get on the end of my own crosses. Now I'm just focusing on being the main man up front. So that concludes the interview. So I think it's a real good interview. I think it shows a little bit of the psyche of Watkins' personality, that he's strong. He wants to score goals. He's got a real willingness to succeed. He wants to be the best player he can be. Possibly he feels like his off-field persona maybe holds him back in sort of like the limelight type of things. But you have to be true to yourself, and you can't sort of portray yourself through social media to be somebody that you're not just because you feel like you have to do that. So I think you can really respect Watkins. He's a family man. He's got 2 young children. And I think he's just being true to himself. And as long as the goals do the talking, then I'm more than happy with the way Ollie Watkins is. So I just wanted to react to his interview because I thought it was a really good interview. It gives you a good insight into Ollie Watkins. And it just shows you Villa fans that all he wants to do is score goals and supply for the team. And hopefully, if he can keep scoring goals, hopefully he's going to score for England against Australia. I'll be buzzing if he starts or gets, 30 minutes. We'll be doing a watch along for it. So for me, Watkins is one of my favourite players, Aston Villa. I just really, really like him. I just like him. I just like his mindset, how he just works hard and he sticks at it. And he deserves more respect because he's going for Gabby's record. He's just signed a new deal. You've saw the goal contributions that he's had. I really like him. Great interview. And yeah, up the Villa.